Kevin Durant and Devin Booker shine in the Olympics. Oh, and by the way, we've got Tyus Jones. All that coming up on the PHNX Sun Show. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday and welcome into another episode of the PHNX Suns podcast. I'm Lindsay here with Flex and Espo. Not too much happening this weekend, huh? Pretty chill, calm, Saturday, Sunday?
Quiet. Quiet.
We are no longer allowed to have PHNX events because the last two that I've gone to, I wind up doing hosting an emergency podcast within minutes of either it starting or ending. All right, Our golf tournament, our pickleball tournament.
Facts.
I have worked on an emergency show right after that.
Maybe we should have more so that all of our teams do more things. Like, you know, in the dead of the off season where you're like the meme of like the stick poking and you're like, do something. When we're tired of our teams just hanging around, we should just have events because then they'll actually do things.
Force them to do stuff.
Listen, it's not a terrible idea.
Well, yeah, our golf tournament, they fire Frank Vogel, or no, they hired Mike Budenholzer the day after they fired Frank Vogel. Our other golf tournament, the Cardinals cut DeAndre Hopkins. Like, it's just, if you need something done, plan a PHNX event and it'll happen.
Absolutely. So. All right. Well, let's dive into it. I know you guys did an emergency podcast on Saturday about the Suns acquiring Tyus Jones. We will dive deeper into that later on in the show. But first, we got to talk about our stars, our big, bright, shiny stars out in Paris at the Olympics. Yes, we are talking about Suns, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker in the opening game for Team USA at the Olympics against Serbia. So Durant finished with 23 points. He was 8 of 9 from the field, 4 of 5 from deep, and had 2 rebounds in there.
No, you're right. 5
Was I right?
Yeah,
I was
right.
looking at books. I was like, I could have sworn it was 5 of 5. I thought he was perfect.
That was
Let's start over here, okay? Let's go ahead and look at the stats for Kevin and Devin. KD finished with 23 points, was 8 of 9 from the field, 5 of 5 from deep, and had 2 rebounds. Book had 12 points, was 4 of 6 from the field, 4 of 5 from deep, and had 5 assists. So a really good game for both of these guys. And of course, when you look at Kevin Durant, the biggest question was his health coming into this opening game for the Olympics. I think it's safe to say he's feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think those numbers do it justice either, because 21 of those points came in 8 minutes and 33 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, he was otherworldly. It was prime Kevin Durant in front of the entire globe, and he was coming off an injury, and he quickly said to the rest of the Olympic field, too bad, you ain't getting off easy. I'm here and I'm full health. So it was unbelievable.
Yeah, listen, I've been watching ball a long time. That was one of the most dominant performances I've seen in an 8-minute stretch ever in basketball. And now when you add to that, it's the Olympics. And it's game 1 of the Olympics. Oh, and by the way, you're coming off the bench because you're coming off an injury, so you got to work your way into the game. Oh, and by the way, your team is down by 5 when you check in.
And by the way, Nikola Jokic is across.
The best player in the world is across from you, right? And so he just comes out and he does what Kevin Durant does, and he reminds you. He reminds you why he's considered an all-time GOAT, why he's a basketball savant, and why you should be really blessed that you get to watch this guy play basketball every day for your team. So that was incredible. I did get a little worried on that last play, boy. I tell you, I almost fell off the couch when I saw it. I'm like, no, Kev, don't be that dominant now, buddy. Chill out. So, but it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, It seems like KD, whenever he does have to deal with an injury, bounces back in epic fashion and has a game like what we saw on Sunday, where he's just like, let me just remind you guys.
Yeah.
I know you've been talking a lot about the injury, and that's fair and all, but let me just fix this storyline for you real quick. This one's more exciting. And honestly, it was so fun with the Olympics too, because if there is one thing that I think brings a country together, it's the Olympics.
Yeah.
Especially when your team is pretty dominant in the way that we have owned basketball for a little while. There's nothing better than coming out in game one, especially against Serbia, which a lot of people were talking about the exhibition game and how Serbia gave them a little bit of a run for their money, and Jokic didn't even play that well in the exhition game. There was a lot of talk leading up to this one. So to have such a demonstrative performance is just cherry on top.
A lot of hype. A lot of talk about this game. You know, I got a new thing. I'm calling it Wayne's World. That's my new thing when we see KD go crazy.
Okay.
That's Wayne's World.
Kevin.
Yeah. Because when you call somebody by their middle name, that means they popped off. Like, you know, Armani mode, right? That's Wayne's World right there. That's Kevin Wayne Durant. Like, understand what y'all dealing with. Y'all know who I am. He went in there and had his own little world out there. And you know what's another cool thing is you watch the reaction of the teammates. And these are the best, these are some of the best players on planet Earth. Lens, they're like their jaws on the floor.
Yeah.
Like they're like, yo, what am I watching? Bro, are you kidding me? What am I watching?
Even LeBron was like that. A guy who's had those moments.
When you get guys at that level to be that excited at what they're seeing, you know you're watching something special.
I think it's just something too where you don't get to really root for these guys. You're competitors, right? Like you're not teammates.
Yeah.
So it's harder to have those moments of excitement for one another when it's typically happening against you.
Yes.
Like you're not going to be like, damn, that LeBron James whatever was iconic when it happens against you.
Against us,
But when you're teammates, you get to really revel in it and be a part of that greatness. It's just another perspective, and it's a time for these guys to celebrate with one another versus competing against each other, which doesn't happen often.
Even as fans though, right? Because we watch, like when Steph hit that last shot to end the game, I went back to the game winner when he beat us. And I'm like, damn, Steph is good, man. I didn't say he was good that night. I was mad
we
that
hated
night.
him that night.
Yeah,
You'd
but
be all right with it now.
yesterday I'm dancing around the room like, yo, go Steph. Like, it's cool to root for these guys in this setting. So, yeah, I'm going to have fun with this Olympics, man.
Kevin Durant also owns 3 of the 4 top scoring performances in the opening game for Team USA at the Olympics. 2012, he had 25 points against France. In 2016, he had 22 points against China. And in 2024, 23 points against Serbia. That 4th one, that one belongs to our guy, Charles Barkley, with 24 points against Angola.
Let's go. I remember that game, too. I remember that game.
And Barkley talking shit to the Angolans.
He elbowed the poor Angolan in the chest,
he was
I remember that one.
He was not on a peace mission, let's say that.
Katie's a little bit nicer about his top scoring performances. Maybe just a little bit.
But that shows you how special this guy is.
And has been for a very long time.
I mean, it's been a rough first 18 months here in Phoenix, the way people have approached it, but that's the guy. That's why you make any move you can get to get Kevin Durant, because he's otherworldly, and those 8 minutes and 33 seconds on the world stage are exactly why you do it, because that will happen in a Suns uniform at some point this season.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, emphatically. Yeah, it's going to happen.
So the question is, obviously, we saw, KD come off the bench. He's starting next game, right?
Probably.
That was just like to kind of ease you back into things, no?
Yeah.
Do you mess with what worked, though?
Listen.
I'm superstitious.
That's what I'm asking.
No.
What do you do in this situation? You definitely start KD.
Yeah, no. If I'm Steve Kerr, I mean, that's Kevin Durant is one of the best players in the world. He's in my starting lineup. I understand why you kind of eased him in this game, but I think what he did is almost like, okay, bro, That was fun. But let me get to the real business here. Okay, Kevin, you did your thing. Yeah, Kevin started.
If I'm Kerr, I go, if you don't do that in the first 9 minutes of the
You're
game
outta
I
here.
start you're back to the bench, my friend.
You're out of here.
You know, it's also one thing we didn't really mention, all of that in 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Like 17 minutes for KD in that game.
All-time Olympic performance.
Yes,
It's
in 17 minutes.
And
Lindsay, that's
21
probably the stat we should have had
I
on there instead of
know.
rebounds.
How did I forget to mention that?
But the 21 of the 23 were in
8
that
minutes.
in the 8 minutes and 33 seconds.
Yes.
I mean, like, shit.
Okay, Sean said he's the best Olympic player. Does KD go down
Yes.
as the GOAT
Yeah.
of the Olympics?
Yeah, he's going to have...
USA men's
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah, not
yeah.
even close. Yeah, it's not even close. I mean, does he gets his fourth one now, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he wins this Olympics, which I believe they will, he'll have 4 gold medals and he'll be the all-time leading scorer in history of USA men's basketball. Yeah, there's no question. Build the statue right now.
Where do you build it?
That's a
At the
good
Team
question.
USA facility?
Yeah, Team
Like,
USA facility.
Did you build one at each arena that he played in the
No,
the
Team
Olympics?
USA facility, and you make sure that there's 4 big gold medals on there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All I know is I am incredibly glad that KD is healthy, that he is back in action, and we get to watch him play with Team USA at the Olympics. Because as much as I was very hesitant to have him go, just because Suns fan, selfish, whatever,
Mhm.
it wouldn't have been the same without KD out there
Yeah.
playing with the squad. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we have that, and exciting times. Keep it up,
Mhm.
KD. I'm excited to see what he does in the second game. If this is just the start and tip of the iceberg, we're going to get 23 minutes from KD. We're going to get him in the starting lineup. What you got for us?
KD gonna drop a 30 bomb in this Olympics.
Let's do
He'll
it.
drop a 30 bomb.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to dive into Devin Booker next. But first, I know the kids are already back in school, which I think is insane. It seems like it's way too early for kids to be back in school.
Just stay in school.
It's crazy.
It doesn't make sense for me.
It's crazy.
I'm from the East Coast. School in July. That don't make sense.
Wild. But if you're like, hey, you know what? My kids are getting a little bit older now. I kind of want them to have a phone that they can take with them, to school for after school practices or field trips or whatever. But you're like, I don't really want to hand them the entire World Wide Web. I'd like to have a little more control. Like, a simple phone you can call and text on that doesn't break the bank. Our friends at Mint Mobile are here to help you out. We all love a great deal just as much as the next guy, but you don't want to have to fight tooth and nail just to get a good deal. Well, with Mint Mobile, it's super easy. There's no hoops, no BS. You just get wireless internet or wireless service for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan. And it sounds really good. And if also you don't got kids, not really worried about that, but you have that thing where you just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, and you have to kind of remind yourself that you don't want to aimlessly waste time on the internet. Well, this is a great way to stay connected, but maintain a sense of presence because you're not distracted by all the things on your phone. To get this new customer offer, you and your 3 new month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, you can go to mintmobile.com/suns. That's mintmobile.com/suns. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/suns. Disclaimer, $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to 15 months. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigs on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See mintmobile.com for details.
I am really shocked that they're letting me read the first ad for this new partner. I'm really shocked.
Yeah. Breaking news.
Sanderson Ford is part of the PHNX family.
Woo woo.
That's right. I've always wanted to do this. Sanderson Ford Country. Look at that. I'm officially official
You
with our friends
are.
over at Sanderson Ford. They have been in this town forever. I remember these ads when I was a kid in the 80s. 3 generations of Sandersons have owned Sanderson Ford in this town. They have loved everything about the Valley, and now they love everything about PHNX, or we'll put that to the test. I'm actually in the market. I want to get one of the Ford Mustang Mach-E's.
Ooh,
I'm very
fancy.
interested
All right.
in finding myself driving one of those sometime soon. And I will be doing it through our friends at Sanderson Ford. They have a 65-acre facility that makes them the largest Ford dealership in the nation. So if you've got a specific Ford you're looking for, chances are they're going to have it there. They also, when you add up everything that they have, including retail and fleet sales, they have more Fords than anyone in the nation. If you want a Ford, Sanderson Ford's got it for you. It's that simple. And they're pushing for the playoffs, and you get the payoffs like deals on 24 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bed. Have you seen the new Ford Broncos?
They're beautiful.
Beautiful.
Nice, very nice.
And then, it's just like that. It was ranked the highest in quality in its segment by J.D. Power Associates. That's a big deal. That's like the Oscar and Emmy of cars, J.D. Power. So make sure to head over to Sanderson Ford. They've got what you're looking for. The Sanderson Ford Summer Sales event is here, and they are teaming up with the Boys of Summer for a final playoff payoff sale. Purchase or lease any new Ford and get 4 tickets for your family to see the Diamondbacks push for the playoffs. Get out there and see the hottest team in baseball while driving one of the hottest cars in the nation from our friends at Sanderson Ford. Get 0% for 36 months OAC from Ford Credit. See dealer for details. Welcome to the family, Sanderson. Glad to have you.
Happy to have you. Also happy to have all you guys here with us on YouTube in the chat. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Thank you all for being so active in the chat today. We've got a few newcomers, or not newcomers, but we don't see the names in the chat very often. Kilpie, DJ Slappin, a couple of new names, HL0. Keep it coming, guys. We love to see you in the chat. And then, of course, all of our OGs. We appreciate you guys for being here each and every day.
Marco, come on, man. I got better pipes than that. Marco says Espo sounded like Gambo on the radio with the Sanderson Ford
Do we need
song.
to have a competition here, karaoke battle?
I ain't singing no Sister Golden Hair or any of that. No, I'm singing the way the people want to hear it.
All right, so we know Kevin Durant had himself a moment in the Olympics already, but we also got to give some love to Devin Booker because both sons have been shining out there in Paris. So Devin finished with 12 points, 4 of 6 from the field, 4 of 5 from deep, 5 assists, and also 2 steals. While it may not be, if you just look at the points, right, a super flashy thing if you're just kind of looking at the box score. But Devin Booker is doing so much for this team. He deserves all the flowers as well. And don't just take our word for it, okay? I'm just only going to tell you two. If I went and scoured the internet for every single quote or tweet that people were saying about Kevin and Devin, I'd still be scouring the internet because it was so abundant.
I love that you just literally said, don't listen to us. There's other people more qualified to tell you.
You don't have to just take our word for it, because last time we talked about Book and what he was doing in the exhibition games, people are like, are you overflating Book a little bit too much? I don't think we were, but I'm just saying, if you want to hear it from a few others, Don Staley said of Devin Booker as well, quote, I think Devin Booker is the unsung hero. Devin Booker can play both sides of the ball, score a whole lot of basketball points, and defend. He's like the quiet assassin of that group. Dwayne Wade on the broadcast was talking about how he thinks a lot of people forget that Devin Booker is a great defender. Devin may not have had the flashiest, quote unquote, performance or box score, but Devin is doing the dirty work. He's defending his ass off. He's the glue guy. He's connecting everyone. And more importantly, he is committed to playing team basketball. They have given him a role, and he has shined within that role by doing what's best for the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see, but I'm not surprised, right? This is a guy that we see him every night. We know what he brings to the table. Go ask Steph Curry, go ask Kevin Durant, go ask LeBron James, the OGs, like you said, of the group, and ask them who they think is the guy that connects them and allows them to do what they're doing on this team. And it's Devin Booker. And if you want a little bit more insight, you want to do a deeper dive, go look at that national championship, that team that was fighting for a national championship at Kentucky. Go look at that team and the amount of talent that team had and how they played Devin Booker. And go back and ask Coach Cal, who's the most important basketball player on that team, on that Kentucky run? And he tell you my that SEC freshman and sixth man of the year, Devin Booker. You know what? He knew how to do it at 18 years old. He did that at Kentucky and is doing the exact same thing on the biggest stage with one of the greatest teams ever assembled. So people that are surprised, I'm like, you're not paying attention. Devin's been doing this for quite some time.
Well, and guys like that are how you go from an accumulation of talent to a team.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Guys that are willing to sacrifice and do those things. There's a handful of guys on this Team USA roster that I think are willing to do that, and Devin is foremost because he's in that starting lineup and willing to do that.
That's
and,
right.
You know, we've said a million things when it comes to Devin Booker, but to Lindsay's point, when you hear it from a Dwayne Wade, a guy that was one of those first that rookie year, remember? Talking about Devin. It was him, it was Kobe, it was LeBron, I believe, were the guys when most people didn't even have him on the radar. They were talking about him. And, you know, him saying the defensive side, like where Book gets hammered constantly about defense, but that's an old narrative. It's a tired narrative.
Yep.
He was from earlier in his career where he was asked to do so much offensively that there wasn't, you know, and there wasn't really anybody around him. So the defense is only as good as the four other guys defending with you in a lot of cases. That's right. So I love it. I love that Don Staley is out there standing for him and making it clear. And anybody that doesn't see the importance of him, and in particular in that starting lineup and what he's able to do for everybody else, you're just not watching basketball.
And here's the thing. We're not saying that Devin Booker is like this otherworldly defender, right? But he plays defense, and a lot of times people want to continue to push this idea that he doesn't play defense at all.
Yeah.
And that's just
that is a turnstile.
Incorrect. Yeah, it's completely incorrect. And then in the comments too, we had Enslow say Booker is an elite team player. And I think that speaks to why he is now teammates with Kevin Durant as well. Kevin Durant sees the value in what Devin Booker does for a team. Devin Booker can see the value in what KD also does for a team. That's why they both wanted to team up and play with one another. And that's why some players are willing to come to Phoenix as well, like a Tyus Jones, right? Like you have a guy like Book on your team and you add in Kevin Durant, that's super exciting for other guys around the league to want to be a part of. But all these guys have been giving Devin a lot of love over the last however many years. It seems like since forever, honestly. The last decade. Since he's been in the league, he's been getting a lot of love and attention from guys like KD, from guys like Steph and LeBron. Like your favorite player's favorite player. You know what I mean? And there's a reason for that.
Think about the comment LeBron made the Book's first All-Star game when he got snubbed, but ultimately made it in because Dame strained his groin the night before. Yeah. Right? The comment LeBron made was, hey, man, Devin Booker's the most disrespected player on planet Earth. And he said that years ago. And so it's not a surprise, man. Now, Ashley Shaw. Is it Ashley Shaw? You don't use my word, Ashley. I've been saying that for a while. You talk
Chameleon?
to people. That's right. I was told that a couple summers ago by people, basketball players and people in the business said Devin's a chameleon. You know, he can adapt to anything.
Ashley's just talking about the rapper. So.
Oh, okay. But no, that again, Lindsay, your point. Kevin Durant came here for a reason. Chris Paul came here for a reason. Brad Beal came here for a reason. Tyus just proved it. Every time Devin gets on the court, it makes it his business to play the right way and impress these guys, because you never know who's watching and you never know when that's going to mean something. And he does it at such a high level that we're blessed to have him here in Phoenix.
Well, and talking about sacrifice, I think last year you could say, hey, he was asked to do yet another different thing, right? Didn't pout, just got to business. Yeah. Became a top 10 assist guy in the league as well, and that's been consistent in his time here. You could throw a million different things that you expect from him that you want him to do, and he goes out and he does it.
That's right.
All right. We can't really talk about Devin Booker without talking about the elephant in the room, and that is the absolute war that is happening whatever on social media around this. A lot of people are really mad at Devin, which I think is crazy to put the blame there.
Yeah.
Because Jayson Tatum didn't get any run in yesterday's game. And while I understand that if I were a Celtics fan or a huge Jayson Tatum fan, I'd probably be pissed too. Like we're not saying that Jayson Tatum is not a phenomenal basketball player.
One of the best players in the world.
Yes, of course. He's on Team USA for a reason.
Right.
I just think that the anger being put at the feet of Devin is misplaced.
Look, there's only one former Sun that you could ever blame for this, and it's Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's the reason he didn't play. Devin Booker didn't go, hey, don't put Jayson Tatum on the court, please. I prefer that you didn't. Let me cook. No, it was Steve Kerr's decision to not play Jayson Tatum. And the thing is, I feel for Steve Kerr, because if you look at that bench, somebody inevitably isn't going to get a lot of minutes. And who the hell should that be? Because this team is stacked.
Yeah.
There's a reason they've referred to these as dream teams, because there are so many damn guys on this roster. And you see a lot of these teams, they're not wing heavy that you're playing. So matchups dictated things with Serbia. I guarantee versus South Sudan, who'll get more minutes. Like, this is going to ebb and flow for some of these guys because there's just so much talent. And who came back yesterday?
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant.
You really want to have that conversation? We just said he was one of the greatest, if not the greatest Olympian ever when it comes to Team USA men's basketball. We're really going to have that conversation right now? Absolutely not. Sorry, no.
Yeah, I mean, if it walk like a duck and it quack like a duck, don't call it a dog. It's a duck. Listen, the change here was Kevin Wayne Durant coming back yesterday. And Kevin Wayne Durant going Wayne's World and dropping 21 points in 8 minutes. And so, you know, I was watching this play out yesterday on social media with the fans, and I'm going to say this. I love Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum is one of the best basketball players on planet Earth and absolutely should be playing the Olympics. If I was a fan of Celtics, I'd be pissed off that I didn't get to see Jayson Tatum.
Yes, absolutely.
But I am not going to co-sign allowing people to act like literally pick Devin Booker as the reason why Tatum didn't play. They don't play the same position. One's in the front court, one's in the back court. Kevin Durant came back. We saw a lot of Jayson Tatum during the preliminary runs in the exhibition games, but Kevin Durant comes in. You have to find a place for Kevin Durant, and somebody's going to lose minutes. And just look at the tape. The guy that lost the minutes was the guy that was getting the minutes before Kevin Durant came back. So this whole Devin versus Tatum thing is silly.
It's also unfair because I don't think there is actually any beef between those two guys.
Of course there isn't. No.
I think they have a lot of
They love each
admiration and
other.
respect for one another. And so I just think it creates this really awful, like, online drama and sometimes even like fan, like, there are obviously, let's be honest, we're media members, but we're also fans of a specific team. You know that happens with other players and other teams too. But it just creates this really toxic, like,
they don't listen to that though.
Cesspool, and it's not fair to the two of them to pit them against each other.
They love each other. Tatum wanted to come here and play with Book when he was young. He made that public. They love each other. Those guys are cool as hell. Like and by the way, we're getting into this. Those guys don't listen to that. They don't listen to that.
Some of them don't. Look, this is the Bill Simmons of the world. This is the talking heads in Boston. I saw some of them on Twitter, some of the radio guys talking about that. And I'm like, look, guys, you can get your panties in a twist if you want about Devin Booker starting and Jayson Tatum not getting minutes, but it's not. It doesn't, like you said, doesn't make any sense. It's not like he's taking his minutes. It's KD coming back that took the minutes.
Yeah.
It's Steve Kerr's decision. And guess what, my friends? You guys won an NBA championship. Do you really give a crap if Jayson Tatum gets 20 minutes or 2? What difference does it make? As long as he comes back healthy to you and he wins a gold, it should not matter.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, I will say if the roles were reversed, I'd probably be a little upset, but I would also question the why behind it, right? A lot of people in the chat have been mentioning how fit-wise, Devin does more for this team than Tatum does, especially when you're looking at a team like Serbia that they were playing. Like, there is a balance to all of this thing. Austin does in the chat bring up a good point, though. They said, I think everyone should get minutes, to be honest. I think in a perfect world, if you can find a way to do that, because you do want to give every Olympic athlete an opportunity to shine.
At some point in the tournament.
But it cannot be to the detriment of the team. Right? Like, at the end of the day, we're all taking off our jerseys at home, who we're competing for at home, and we're all joining one squad for a chance to win a gold medal. And so there has to be buy-in from everyone top to bottom that we're going to do whatever is best for us as a collective to reach that common goal. And that's hard because we've talked about it before, like, rightfully so, the egos on this team should be super high. They are phenomenal basketball players, the top of the top. But it just is what it is.
What happened versus South Sudan?
They almost lost.
Yes.
Why?
Because they didn't. It wasn't team basketball.
It's not team basketball, and you're trying to give everybody a chance. You're doing that's why you can't do that. Not in the Olympics. These guys are too good. This is FIBA basketball. They're playing for a gold medal. You experiment during the exhibition season, and you did exactly that. And people were coming back saying this team's not good.
They weren't.
This team's playing bad. They almost lost to Germany. They almost lost to South Sudan. They could have lost to Serbia. And so what do you do naturally as a coach? You evaluate and you say, I got to shrink the rotation a little bit and I got to tighten up the screws. Well, that's how you tighten up the screws and guys lose minutes. But that doesn't mean that Jayson Tatum isn't going to play a big role in the next game. Or the game's going down the line. It's going to be a game-to-game thing.
Matchup.
It's matchup-based, and all these guys will have an opportunity to show out and prove why they're there. But you can't jump the gun with one game because that was just a unique setting with KD coming back.
This ain't Little League either.
No,
You're not getting a participation trophy for being in the Olympics.
Correct.
Mommy ain't coming out with your orange slices at halftime. This shit ain't happening. Not everybody's going to play minutes. It's just the way it is. And everybody's acting like they almost lost that game yesterday and they won by 20 plus. Why is this the conversation? Why is it not Team USA looks like they got their shit together?
Right.
Instead it's, oh, my poor Jayson Tatum didn't get minutes. You know what? Somebody's not. And it just happened to be him yesterday. So be it.
That's it.
And that is my TED Talk. Thank you for joining.
And he'll get his opportunity at some point in time. I do understand the frustration, but at the end of the day, like we said at the top of this conversation, it's not Devin Booker versus Jayson Tatum. It's not Jayson Tatum versus Devin Booker. Like, let's squash that.
Yes,
let's not
please.
feed into that because that is so incredibly unfair just in general, but also unfair to the two of them.
Yes.
So are we getting to the most important Olympic topic now?
What are we doing?
We're not talking about my guy, Jock Landell, dropping 20 in the win over Spain. Let's go. Ozzy, oi, oi, oi. Let's get some wins.
Hey-o.
Let's go, Jock.
Okay.
Anyways,
We do love seeing
Good
former
job, Jock.
Suns, especially the ones that we hold near and dear to our hearts, have solid outings in whatever adventures they are partaking in. So shout out to our guy, Jock. But Ashley was saying that Australia is going to win it all. Ashley, you got to... Come on. This is a tough rock and hard place for
I'm
Ash.
okay. I'm okay. If Australia wins it all and Jock wins MVP of the Olympics, I'm okay with that.
It's like your second favorite
Okay.
thing.
I'm
Hey,
okay
man,
with
listen,
that.
I'm torn. I mean, we got Puerto Rico coming up. I mean, I love my guys with the U.S. They know I do, but that game, I'm putting my PR jersey. Let's go, Jose Alvarado. Clap that boy.
You're going to be lucky if they're within 30, my friend.
Yeah, that's what they said. That's what they said back in the day. And Carlos Arroyo dropped 40 on their head and beat him. So, Boricua, stand up. I can't wait.
Jacob did send us a super chat. They said, Book putting Bud's offense into effect. 4 of 5 from 3.
What? Him and Kevin, 9 of 20.
Yeah.
They're just getting
Or
a head
just
start
9 of,
for next
9 of
season.
10.
Yeah, just getting a head start.
Almost 30 points from my two guys behind the line. I love it.
9 of 10. Let's do that. I'm in.
All right, we are going to talk about Tyus Jones here coming up, but I do want to remind you guys that the show is sponsored by our friends over at BetterHelp. And One common misconception about relationships is that they have to be easy in order to be right, but that's not entirely true. Sometimes the best relationships happen when both people put the work in to make them great. And sometimes you can find yourself stuck between a rock and a hard place where you really want to, but you don't really know how to. And a lot of times the best way to move forward in that situation is to get help from a third party. We're talking about therapy here, right? Therapy can help you grow within a relationship. It can help you grow within your own relationship with yourself. Therapy is wonderful for a wide variety of situations, whether it's your friends, work, your significant other. So if you are looking for a soulmate or not, you can become your own soulmate, and BetterHelp can help you in that area by visiting betterhelp.com/PHNX today. You can get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/PHNX for 10% off your first month. And it doesn't have to be scary, and it doesn't have to be hard and difficult with BetterHelp. If you want to switch therapists, you can absolutely do that. It's also very convenient. You know, they have evening hours available. It can be online, like it's online. So it makes it easier for you to get the work and the help that you need because it works around your schedule and what's convenient for you. So one more time, betterhelp.com/PHNX.
I can speak to it. Before BetterHelp, I rejected myself. Now I appreciate myself. So
I love it.
That's
love
step number one.
I love to hear it.
I mean, I still won't go on a date with myself, but I appreciate myself now. I friend zoned myself.
You're getting there.
You know what? You know what my worst relationship is? Me and money.
Is it?
That is my worst relationship. But our
Okay.
friends over at Desert Financial Credit Union want to help me in multiple ways. They want to hook me up with $200 for signing up for a checking account, but they also want me to plan a better financial future. And they're here to help me. I mean, they've been in Arizona 84 years. They've been here a long time is what I'm saying. And that's important because they understand what it means to be in Arizona and what it takes to succeed here in the Valley and throughout the state. So they want to help. I have my financial dreams. I want to send Ro to college, my daughter, and I think that she'll wind up going to, unfortunately, an extremely expensive school based on
Probably.
How smart she is.
Yeah, based on some of the things she wants to do.
Yeah, you're in trouble there.
So I need to save, and they've got investment options, savings accounts, all sorts of things to help me get on a better path financially to help her have a better future. And that's important because they care about their members and they want to help them succeed. You want to start a business? They got business loans. You want to, look at refinancing your house? They got mortgages. You want to buy that boat, but you don't have enough cash on hand. They got credit cards. I don't know that they'd recommend it, but that's something you
But
can
maybe
do.
a personal loan,
There's all sorts of things you can do. So join a credit union that is committed to giving back to the community and sharing success with its members. When you open that free checking account, you're going to get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200.
All right, let's talk about our newest Phoenix Sun, Tyus Jones. Report from Adrian Wojnarowski that he will be joining the Phoenix Suns on a vet minimum. You guys did do an emergency podcast on Saturday, so if you guys want to kind of a little bit of a dive into that, you can go back and rewatch that episode. But let's talk a little bit more about Tyus Jones and the fact that in the follow-up statement that he shared, starting point guard.
Starting point
Point
guard.
guard.
I really hope that there was a discussion, right? I started thinking this after our show because obviously in those you have to react really quick, right? But I thought about that statement he shared with Woj. I'm like, what if they had that conversation and he just threw that out there?
That would be the most chaotic way to start a new relationship with a team ever.
They'd need better help. Right
They would
away.
need a lot. They would need a lot.
I'm sure that there were conversations with Coach Bud about that, and it makes sense. The guy has been a backup at other stops in his career. Finally got the chance to start in Washington. It was great. Had the all-time best assist-to-turnover ratio ever in NBA history as a starter.
The fact that the Phoenix Suns were able to pull this off is a little bit of luck, right? With the CBA kind of falling into their favor this time. Okay. We've talked about all the limitations that the new CBA has put on the Phoenix Suns. Well, in this particular scenario, I think it kind of fell into their favor a little bit because a lot of the money dried up. Obviously, Tyus probably could have gone to a team that wasn't going to be very competitive this year and got a little bit more money. But the fact, again, like we said earlier in the show, you got Kevin Durant, you got Devin Booker. That's a very appealing thing to free agents out there they want to be a part of. He was in our pie in the sky vet minimum list early on in the offseason. Yeah. Nobody, and listen, a lot of us wanted Tyus Jones and would have loved to have Tyus Jones on this team. I don't think there were very many people, if anybody, who thought it was a realistic path that he would end up on this team for a vet min because of what he should be getting.
No, yeah, I'm pretty sure I laughed and yelled at the chat at one point because it was like, no, this is insane. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a $15 million point guard that you just got for $3 million. Now, to Lindsay's point, there's luck in everything, right? If you win an NBA championship, you got to have luck, right? But I will say this, from background conversations and things that I've heard in the past, I think a little bit of luck, but the Suns were playing this perfect the entire time. They knew the landscape of the CBA. They calculated some things and they sat down and they said, you know what, with this new CBA, you got the high-end players, you got these low-end players, and the middle of the pack is really getting squeezed here. And so I think they sat back and they were patient and they waited, and Tyus just ended up being that guy. But I think going in, they expected that there was going to be a player, a pretty good player that was going to fall into that category, and that's where the luck plays in, where it was actually Tyus. But they did a good job of just weighing things out, and they got one of the better point guards in basketball. I know people keep, when we said this the other day, people were in the chat and they were disagreeing, oh, don't go that far, Flex. I'm talking about point guard.
Like pure
I'm talking about pure point guard. 7-to-1 assist to turnover ratio tells me one of the highest marks in NBA history. That tells me the highest in NBA history. Yes, that tells me that you are one of the best, if not the best, floor general in basketball when it comes to assist to turnover ratio, and that's what we need. And then the second best guy is another guy that we got on our team. What's his name? Monty Morris. Yeah, so the point guard situation is squared away. The Phoenix Suns did a good job of taking care of business. And real quick, man, you too funny, man. You
said we are the Suns. What is love?
Yeah, but he was talking about our $500 million thing.
Yeah, said if you want to take your daughter's future, you should take the $500.
You should have, Espo.
I'm selfish.
That was a callback to a show from last week. If you missed it, go watch it.
I mean, but the other thing you got to take into account, right, that I think has been overlooked in this is he had that assist to turnover ratio playing on the gosh damn freaking Wizards. All right. Do you think Devin Booker had a heart? And I don't know why I said it like that, as if I can't curse on this program. But you remember Devin Booker in those early years and the hodgepodge of G League and European talent that he was playing with? Yeah. Essentially what you had in Washington last year. And Tyus Jones still went out there and played an unbelievable season as a starting point guard. So to me, you got to take that into account. But, Bobby Mark said he was based on his thoughts and a bunch of an analytical tool that they have at ESPN, that he was a little over a $14 million a year guy, right? So it's not just us throwing some number out there, $14, $15 million guy, but you bring up the new CBA, Lindsay. It's killing that middle ground. There's no middle class of the NBA. It's anybody making that 14, 20 in that range is kind of gone, I think, in the way this is structured, because you've got teams that are hard capped. What are there? 16 of those. You got 7 teams in the second apron, which means they can only offer
first.
Over an apron. So they have minimal things that they can offer. Basically, first apron, you can offer a mid-level exception, which is 12, right? Yeah. And then that second apron is veteran minimums.
Yeah.
So, and teams are afraid, those other teams that aren't in those situations are afraid of those aprons. They don't want to spend money. So are you going to spend money on proven stars rather than good starters? Yeah, that's the way the NBA is lean. So now guys like Tyus Jones are going to have to sign these prove-it deals where they have to try to put themselves in that next category, right?
Yeah.
Which plays right into where the Suns are. And that is an impressive thing to me. They brought in Matt Tellem. We've talked about this guy. He was supposedly one of the the foremost thinkers when it comes to CBA and loopholes.
Yeah.
You know that this was on their radar, that this wasn't just happenstance and luck, right? A couple of guys, that it was Tyus.
Yeah,
yes.
that it was Tyus.
But
yes.
a couple of guys we talked about, Markel Fultz, Chetty Osman, guys that were on the list, but you didn't think you'd have a real chance at, right?
Guy, yeah.
They played the market right. They got the few guys that they really wanted at the beginning that they knew were in a vet minimum range, and then waited it out. And then when they saw their opportunity to trade David Roddy to get in a lesser salary that they could buy out for cheaper, they did that, and they swooped in on Tyus Jones. Guess what? This deal costing them $700,000 less in tax money than where they were at. You got Tyus Jones, the guy that's going to be your starting point guard, and you saved money. How the hell they pulled off is beyond me, but tip of the hat to the front office. Yes. They found a way to supposedly take this straitjacket of a CBA that they're working under and find their way out of it.
We love loopholes, and they got all the loopholes right now, or at least they're finding all the loopholes that are available within this new CBA. But the question is, and we can dive deeper into this over the course of the off season, but starting point guard, how are you guys feeling about the way in which this is all going to kind of inevitably shake out, at least towards the beginning of the season? Because we're all assuming it's going to be Tyus Jones, it's going to be Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and Jusuf Nurkic in that starting lineup, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the fair assumption at this point?
I got no question about it. I got no doubt about it. And here's the thing. Why not? Why not? You try it. You see what it looks like. I mean, I can't get behind let's see what it looks like first. Let's actually just see what it looks like. Let's not try to play, armchair GM and coach and scout. And I get why people want to do that, but you see what it looks like. And if it works, you stick with it. If you have to make an adjustment, you make the adjustment. But yes, absolutely. I'm putting those 5 guys out there, and I'm seeing what that looks like.
Flex, I love you, brother.
Talk to me, dog.
But I want to play armchair coach and GM.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, go ahead.
Look, I was in on it on Saturday in initial reaction. But the more I think about it, I just wonder, are you going to be giving up too much size? You've got Tyus Jones, who's not, he's 6'1". He's listed as 6'1". Mm-hmm. We know how things are listed.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the opposite. Katie claims he's what, 6'11" or 6'10"?
He's the one guy
he's actually 7'8".
He's the one guy that wants to be told he's shorter than he is. Only human male.
I can resonate with that. I'm too tall because I'm a waist to height, according to Eddie Johnson.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, you can get the light bulbs for us though, so I take that back. To me, are you giving up too much? Is Bradley Beal destined to be your super 6 man? Right? Because you bring up Eddie Johnson and Bradley Beal in his prime. Eddie's not in here yet, right?
No, I he's going to yell at you. Say this
Bradley Beal in his prime, better than Eddie Johnson. I'll say that. Bradley Beal right now, I mean, is there a chance that he could be the kind of guy that Eddie Johnson was in your 6 man? Eddie was a guy that was a bona fide starter, a guy that could score like crazy. I wonder, is Bradley Beal in the long run going to be better suited in that position and starting a guy like a Royce O'Neal who's a little bit more defensive minded might be your better play? Because then you look at the second unit, you got Grayson, you got Brad, you got Monte Morris, you got Mason Plumlee, Bull if you want to go there. Usually you don't do it in a hockey lineup style, so you're not going to bring in all 5 guys. Like, I wonder if there's a better play there. Yeah, and Jersey Joe, I understand that Royce and Grayson are both still shorter.
Right.
Royce is listed at 6'4", but people say he's 6'6", and he said he's 6'6". I don't know, but it's the type of play that you've gotten out of Royce.
Brad and Brad is bigger than what his list. He plays bigger. He's stronger. Book is 6'6". Book can go and play defend threes on defense at small forward. He's done that before. He's guarded Tatum. He's guarded Brown. He's guarded point guard. I just don't see this. But it's almost like people are just looking for a way to find something wrong with this. That's what it feels like to me. It's like, oh, we got Tyus Jones. That's great. Best assist on the radio. Oh, we're gonna be small though. We stink. Brad got no, not you, not you, not no, not you. I'm saying this is what I'm hearing now. It's like we haven't even seen it yet, guys. Like how we're small. Well, how about we wait to see the matchups first? And if you are too small, you nip it in the bud pretty quick during that matchup, and you make the adjustment because you got the pieces to do that. But the idea that you have to now live into it's too small. We can't do that. Throw Grayson in there. Throw Royce in there, and never even look at what this could potentially look like.
I would never. Let me make this very clear. Grayson is if you're gonna stay small, just keep Beal. I'm not saying put Grayson in. I'm saying Royce from more of a 3-and-D perspective. Is something that I wonder. But we talked about this, and we even talked about it on Saturday. I guess it's not about who starts. It's who finishes, and and how you have to decide to run your lineups like that. And I doubt that these 5 are the 5 that you're going to see. You may even go smaller sometimes, like KD at the 5 with with Tyus and those guys, and it's a Royce or a Grayson or somebody, and you go completely off the wall with it. That's the gnawing little thing in the back of my head is, do you consider that at some point?
I mean, I'm sure they're considering it now, but I just don't see Beal coming off the bench with this squad. But to your point again, just because you roll out 5 guys to start the game doesn't mean that you even ever have to revisit those 5 at the same time again throughout the remainder of the game.
Correct.
And you definitely don't have to finish with those guys.
It's an ego play.
It kind of is. Let's be honest. And there's a lot of them in the NBA. We just talked about all of the ones that are on the Olympic team, and rightfully so. There are some phenomenal players across the league. A couple things from the chat. Zach in the chat said Beal starts for a full 7 seconds or less, quote, punch in the mouth start, then bring in size after a few minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then we also have a few additional super chats here as well. One from Jacob. Jacob said, book, KD, Beal, Tyus, all mid-range guys that have good 3-point percentage on low volume. Grayson Allen is our only volume 3-point shooter. I'm conflicted with him off the bench. Do you feel like you lose a little bit of something for this team?
No, I think Grayson
Allen is coming off the bench.
No, I think Grayson needs to be off the bench because Grayson. Here's the thing: if you want high volume from threes, you got to put them on the court with guys that aren't high volume scorers and shooters. So Grayson is better suited coming off the bench and playing with one of Kevin or Devin or Brad, but not all 3 of them. Like all 3 of them, that's where you have those games where we're sitting here last year. Like, why did Grayson only get 3 shots? Yeah. Well, because he's playing with those guys all on the same court, and they're not going to give Grayson those looks. Bring Grayson off the bench and let him be high volume in a setting that fits him better. So I love Grayson off the bench. I actually think Grayson can be the 6th man of the year off the bench if they do what they're going to do. And I think the person in the chat made a great point about the 7 seconds or less. I remember going back to that time where people were saying, how's this going to work? Amari's not a center. Sean's not a 4. Quinn Richardson and Joe Johnson both played it 2. What are we going to do? And they said, damn what y'all think. We're going to try this out. And they came out like a wrecking ball. So you try it out first and you make the adjustments later.
Well, and I don't think in Coach Bud's offense that those guys are going to be low volume 3-point shooters.
That's right.
I think that changes dramatically.
Good point.
But I think you see the percentages stay pretty close to where they are because Tyus shot 41%. Book has a 30. You could pencil him in for 36%, or higher, no matter what volume he shoots. KD, we know, can shoot the 3. Nurk's really the only guy in that lineup that you can't go, that's a quality 3-point shooter. I think they'll all shoot at a higher volume, especially compared to last year.
Yeah, we also have a super chat from Michael, their 20th super chat on the program. Shout out to you, Michael. Appreciate you being here with us each and every day. They said, why are we worried about who's starting? I'm more worried about who's finishing. Beal, Book, and KD will all get 30 to 35 minutes regardless. The Suns roster is much improved over last season. Smile. Yeah. This is true. And listen, you can turn to some other guys. Like, I know Ryan Dunn is a rookie and he's young and there's still some growth and development in there, but you need to take the defensive responsibility off of somebody in the middle of a game, Ryan Dunn is your guy. Book needs a break or KD needs a break from taking on the best defender on the opponent's squad. You got options now for smaller portions of time, of course. They're not people you can necessarily rely on throughout the entire game for 25 to 30 minutes, but these are things that you can mess around with. You can toy with throughout the season that we didn't exactly have a lot of last season.
Well, and the other nice thing, you're talking about the minutes, I think this gets overlooked too. Kevin, Devin, and Brad played a large amount of minutes when they played.
Which you would love to be able to, or able to reduce that a little bit. Yes.
So there will, because there was an argument online going on Twitter over the weekend about, Grayson needs 34 minutes, right? That's what he got last year. And how do you get him there with this? It's like, well, injuries will play some of it. He'll get minutes when guys get injured. So you may even start at times. You're going to dial back, hopefully, Devin and Brad and Kevin's minutes. So maybe there's more to gain there, even if he's on the bench. And I don't think he needs to be quite at that. I think he'd be a volume effective 3-point shooter at 28 minutes a game and get 34. What you need. I don't think he played that many out of necessity last year, right?
Yeah.
So they're in a much better position. I know later in the week we'll look at kind of the depth compared to last year's at this point, all those things to really lay it out there. But man, it is there's a lot of options. Right
also, the last thing on this one, somebody in the chat had asked when Grayson Allen becomes trade eligible. It's later in October.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know there's already a lot of conversation about maybe trade Grayson Allen for
we haven't even seen it yet.
Who's a little more established. I am not on board with this idea. I understand the thought behind it, but I'm at a hard no at the very least until the trade deadline. You have to give them an opportunity to see what they've got. Grayson Allen was phenomenal for us last year. And if Grayson Allen has a potential to be our sixth man of the year, double-digit scoring every night off the bench, why would you just willingly give that up without at least seeing what you got first?
I just don't understand how we got such a huge addition this weekend. Tyus Jones is a huge addition that shifts the landscape of the conference, actually, potentially now with the Suns having him. And people immediately graduate to, okay, who we get rid of?
Yeah.
Who got to go?
Because we got
trade this guy.
A bunch of miserable curmudgeons. Up in Denver, they get a washed Russell Westbrook, and they're throwing a goddamn parade. Here we get a 28-year-old guy who led the league in assist-to-turnover ratio. We're going, who can we trade now? What can we do? They're not good enough yet. It's like, slow your roll. Be happy with what's going on. And then, once you get into it and you see what you have, then worry about who you're trading. Like, you built in the ability to have flexibility and make moves if you need to, right? But I think we need to get out of here because the water boy of podcasting just walked in, and we got to get him his reps.
Yes, we will go ahead and head out. Thank you all for joining us. Real quick before we sign off, we do want to give a birthday shout out to John Lee. John Lee said, last year I watched PHNX on my birthday. Today I'm also watching PHNX on my 47th
Happy birthday.
Cheers. I agree. Let's go.
Lindsay, we got to go. The water boy.
Katie and Nick. Suns way better than this team. Team solid. Happy birthday, John Lee, is what I'm trying to say as I'm in the middle of EJ and Espo fighting off of camera.
No, say it to my face.
EJ, you be nice.
Put your face right here. I'll talk to him.
Say it to my face.
We got to go, Lindsay, because the water boy of PHNX podcasting's here.
He's trying to get some money. Don't sue me.
EJ,
if I'm not mistaken, we got Outside Shots coming up next. Yeah. So if you are here with us on YouTube right now, hop on over to that, maybe in like 5-10 minutes or something like that. And make sure you hit the like button for this show and the next show you watch as well. Wherever you get your podcast, rate, review, and subscribe. And, of course, follow the show on social at PHNX_Suns. You can give me a follow, Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Flex at Flex from Jersey. And you can follow Espo at Espo.
Shut up,
Espo,
hello.
Take us home.
I have a pretty good idea that I'm going to be out on Workman's Comp for the next 3 weeks after Eddie and I talk after his show. So, ahoy, ahoy.
all silly like the mayor.